Victor Hugo wrote, "An invasion of armies can be resisted, but not an idea whose time has come." The gospel of the wheel spread so quickly that the masses wondered how something so simple could have remained unknown for so long. Bicycle manufacturing emerged from its roots as a cottage industry to become big business. Bicycles were mass-produced on assembly lines for the first time. The design process was separated from production. Specialized factories supplied standardized components. 1/3 of all patents registered at the US Patent Office in the 1890s were bicycle-related. In fact, the bicycle had its own dedicated patent building in Washington, D.C. At the 1895 Stanley Bicycle Show in London, the annual industry event, 200 firms displayed 3,000 models. The Cycle magazine reported 800,000 bicycles manufactured in Britain that year. Many locksmiths, gunsmiths, and anyone with metallurgy skills abandoned their trades and went to work in bicycle factories. In 1896, the peak year for production, 300 firms in the USA made 1.2 million bicycles, making it one of the largest industries in the country. The biggest firm, Columbia, with 2,000 employees at the Hartford Works in Connecticut, boasted of making a bicycle a minute. By the end of the decade, the bicycle had become a utilitarian form of personal transport for millions, the people's nag. For the first time in history, the working class became mobile. As they could now commute, crowded tenements emptied, suburbs expanded, and the geography of cities changed. In the countryside, the bicycle helped to widen the gene pool. Birth records in Britain from the 1890s show how surnames began to appear far away from the rural locality with which they had been strongly associated for centuries. Everywhere, the bicycle was a catalyst for campaigns to improve roads, literally paving the way for the motorcar. The health benefits of the bicycle met with an appetite for self-improvement that characterized the age. The same workers who pedaled to the factories and the pits founded gymnastic clubs and choirs, libraries and literary societies. At the weekends, they cycled together in clubs. Amateur and professional racing exploded. Cycle racing at tracks or velodromes became the #1 American spectator sport. Arthur A. Zimmerman, one of the world's first international sports stars, won over 1,000 races on 3 continents as an amateur, and then as a pro, including gold medals at the first World Cycling Championships in Chicago in 1893. In Europe, road racing became hugely popular. Long-lived classic races such as Liège to Bastogne to Liège and Paris to Roubaix were staged for the first time in 1892 and 1896 respectively. The Tour de France was inaugurated in 1903. Americans in particular became captivated by the idea of speed during the gay 90s. Speed was thought to be a mark of civilization. Through transportation and communication, Americans came to associate speed with the unification of their vast country. On a bicycle, they could actualize it. By the end of 1893, track races surpassed 35 miles per hour. The bicycle eclipsed the trotting horse to become the fastest thing on the road. Technological innovation made the bicycle even lighter and faster as the decade progressed. In 1891, Monty Holbein set the world 24-hour track record of 577 kilometers, 361 miles, at London's Herne Hill Velodrome. 6 years later, the cigar-smoking Dutchman, Mathieu Cordin, rode 400 kilometers, 250 miles further. A typical bicycle was fixed wheel, no gears or freewheel, with a steel frame, slightly dropped bars, a leather saddle, and usually no brakes. You braked by backpedaling. Roadsters commonly weighed around 33 pounds. Racers were under 22 pounds, pretty much the weight of the finest road racing bicycles today. On the 30th of June 1899, Charles Murphy became the most famous cyclist in America when he rode a mile in 57.45 seconds, paced by a locomotive on the Long Island Railroad, on planks laid between the rails. The bicycle met with the demand of fin de siècle society for independence and mobility. The safety introduced whole new groups to 2 wheels, the old and young. Juvenile models were marketed from the early 1890s. The short and the unfit, men and women. For the first time, anyone could ride a bike. Mass production and the burgeoning second-hand market meant that the majority of people could afford one. As the